Alright, so you guys voted on the YouTube poll on my community page that you wanted to see a video on why PK sucks. So that is what I'm providing to you. I am a Rep 20 PK, so it may seem like I'm a little biased saying that she's really bad and that she needs a buff, but I'm sure by the time that I'm done you won't be thinking that. Now to start off, PK's main mix-up is that you have her heavy soft feints, and so the way that this works is you can do heavy and then press light in it to do a top attack stab, bleed stab, or you can soft feint into a guard break, so press guard break during the heavy to get a guard break if they try and parry it, for instance. Um, so if you just end up throwing the heavy, it only does 15 damage by itself, and they're really slow. So the thing is it doesn't actually do 15 damage, but what you need to do is you need to do a bleed follow-up every single time. And that really hurts your stamina because all of your damage is based around a second attack that you always have to do. There's also a lot of feinting just in general, because you have to soft feint and that takes more stamina away from you. For instance, if you have a heavy and then you soft feint it into guard break, not only will the heavy take a bunch of stamina, the soft feint will take stamina, the guard break will take stamina, and then a thing that PK has is that she can do 3 light stabs whenever she gets a guard break on somebody. Those 3 stabs will also take stamina. So just one mix-up could end up having to take half of your stamina bar away. Another thing that PK has is unblockable heavies, whenever your enemy is bleeding specifically. And this is a good thing because it makes it a true 30-30-30 mix-up. The only issue is that it's chained heavies. So the only way that you can get into it is through a heavy or a light. So a big issue is, unlike Raider, where you do soft feints and your chain continues because it's an infinite chain, PK does not have that. Meaning that if you do a heavy, right, and then you do a bleed riposte, that doesn't follow up after. Or if you do a heavy and you soft feint it and it's a top light, you can't follow it up. It's a whole nother chain. And because of the heavies being so slow, you can't really just throw them out there randomly. So what you end up having to do, the only viable option is left, is just to light. And that wouldn't be that bad. The only issue is that if you fight somebody that can light parry, they can just get rid of your main mix-up. You're just basically screwed completely, just because they can light parry you into oblivion, making it where her mix-up is not a real 30-30-30, because what they can do is they can just hold the side that you're throwing a heavy on, or hold the top, and then still have your finger on the guard break button. And the last change that they gave her was a nerf. Before, her guard break damage with the stabs was 38, and I agree it was too much, but it was the only good thing that was left in her kit, and they didn't give her any compensating buffs, so now it's 28, which is more than normal, but it was the only good thing that she had. I mean, just look at Raider. He has hyper armor, infinite chain, easier access to unblockables, way better stamina, better hitboxes, and on top of that, he's not an assassin, so he doesn't have reflex guard or lower health. Raider is just a better version of her. So the only thing that PK has over him is 4 more damage and a guard break. And you might say, oh, well, PK is a deflect, right? Well, a deflect does bleed damage, and bleed damage is worse. I feel like I shouldn't have to really explain that. I cannot count how many times I've died because I did all the damage to a person, but it was bleed, and they were still able to kill me afterwards. And unlike some other deflects, like Orochi and Berserker, it doesn't do anything for hyper armor. So if you fight a Berserker, for an example, and you deflect one of their moves, you just get punished for punishing them. And it's one of the hardest to hit moves in the entire game. And another thing that I really don't understand what they're doing with her is they're nerfing her again this next patch. The dodge attack is super slow and has no properties, and it probably has the worst dodge attack hitbox in the entire game. It only does 7 damage without having to do the bleed follow-up, and so it means that it just takes even more stamina. The only thing that makes it usable is that it's a heavy, and I do agree that all attacks should be light parries, They really need to adjust her dodge attack in some way because it's actually the worst in the game now. And it doesn't make any sense because she's an assassin. Assassins are meant to be dodging around. That's kind of the entire point of them. They're supposed to be more nimble. Unless, what's the point of having reflex guard and lower health? Now, the biggest thing that really hurts PK is that people can just dodge attack or light her out of her mix-up, and there's nothing that you can do about it. Because of the soft feint to guard break, it's too slow to catch the dodge attack, and everything else will miss. And the light will hit you out of any of the soft feints, so what you end up having to do is hard feint it and try and parry it with the dodge attack, and until the next update, it's not really going to be worth it because even if you do make that read, you're only going to get a light off of it. And with the light, you end up having to try and guess which direction the light is going to come from, meaning that most of the time your mix-up turns into a mix-up for yourself. Now the last thing is that she's absolutely the worst character for 4v4. She has bad feats, her hitboxes are absolutely horrendous, she has no external pressor, you can't guard break somebody if you're ganking them, and unless you have bleed in a very specific situation where you're able to back up and then get into your unblockable, all they have to do is just blocking your direction and you're done. And the last thing is they still haven't fixed her zone. If you noticed, with a lot of other characters, they've lowered the stamina cost of the zones. They have not done that with PK yet. And on top of that, it only does 11 damage, which is below average from a zone. And it still takes half your stamina. That doesn't make any sense. Like, where's the there's a disconnect there? Anyway, that's why I think PK sucks. If you disagree, I would love to have a conversation with you in the comments, even after everything that I've said. So, yeah, see ya.